Do you know what, guys? This might just be the third video in a row that I have filmed where I'm not wearing a hoodie. Did I take all of my hoodies and burn them? I might have done, but it was very therapeutic. You know, I will only speak for myself, but you know, it does go without saying, it's pretty obvious that we get to pick and choose what we share with you. And even though I feel like I've peeled back so many layers of the onion, so to speak, and shown you so much more of Miles in the last, well, since I came back in last summer. For those of you that don't know, I was going through addiction for a long time leading up to that, and then had to go to rehab, take a break, and get better. But there were only certain ways in which I could, first of all, let's start with, I tried many of the traditional healing methods, which, the thing is, I feel like I'm a very weird person, but whenever I do share deeper levels of these things, so many of you can relate. So I feel like I'm not the only one. In fact, there are many of us, whatever we are out there. I feel like everyone is on a lifelong journey of growth, of progression, of constant learning. And I feel like we're living in a world today that has pulled us so far from our natural state of being, whatever that is, because I haven't even found mine yet. I don't know why. Whenever I speak about things that I think like, oh, is this too much to share? Will people get that? Because I know I'm batshit, but you guys just seem to get it. Maybe we're all batshit, or maybe I'm just always right. I want to go back to the starting point of all of this, as in these things that I'm putting into practice now and have helped me immensely, and that was about 10 months ago. I learned more than ever at that point, and the thing is, I already knew this. I've made videos about this, and every time I do speak about it, like pretty much everyone agrees with me, but I don't think you understand the extent of, well, some of you might. When I made that first video on intuitive eating and why I can't do it and why it doesn't work for a lot of people. Don't get me wrong, there are people all up in the comments like defending it like their life depends on it, because I feel like a lot of people, when they're recovering from something, it's their only way to make themselves feel free with food. I don't know. Don't get me wrong, 99% of you agreed with me on that. You know, and I still stand by everything I said in that video. In fact, but I have taken my beliefs to an even stronger level of the depths that someone might have to go to do the exact opposite to heal, which is what I had to do and what I'm to some extent still currently having to do. By no means am I trying to take away intuitive eating from anyone that it works for. Like, if it works for you, like I've always said, it's great. Like, whatever works for you, great, keep doing it, right? But I'll speak from my perspective, how I couldn't personally listen to all of my body's signals because I've never really listened to them, and I've also done a lot of things to fuck them up. And most of us are in situations where we've either not been taught to listen to our body, that we're not being kind to our body, where we're in a profession where we actually can't listen to our body. And anyone else that's been in pro sport from a young age, I know you'll be able to relate too. We are conditioned to not listen to any of our body signals, okay? So you wake up and you're tired, doesn't matter, you still gotta train. You wake up and you feel sick, doesn't matter, you still gotta train. I felt so sorry for the females that I was on Team Great Britain with when I was playing tennis, because even when they had their periods, you know, like, I know, like, you know, the right thing for a woman to do would be to kind of take it easy, rest. No, they still have to train, they still have to compete. It's almost like you're not only going against what your body's telling you, but you almost have to switch off your intuition to survive, to compete, to win. All of my intuition tells me to do the wrong thing. Add addiction to that, where you're playing around with multiple substances which make you feel, you know, for years, which make you feel different at different points of the day, which mess with your hunger signals, which mess with your brain chemistry, with just absolutely everything in your body, including your hormones. How the fuck am I supposed to intuitive eat? One of my biggest ways towards getting my strength back, getting more mental clarity back, feeling like me more, was going against what my body was telling me to do. Honestly, if I was intuitive and just woke up in the morning and I listened to myself, like, I honestly would probably want to exercise for about 7 hours, even though I don't, because I just have so much energy. And for me, I get a euphoric kick out of that. I would definitely not feel hungry until much later in the day. If I listened to what I craved, my diet would consist of just tons of fruit and jars of peanut butter and tahini and dark chocolate and sweet things. What I had to do was put things in place that I knew, regardless of however I was feeling, they were going to help me. So for example, for me, like, even if I wasn't hungry, because I can't wait for my body to tell me that I'm hungry, I've never been able to do that. I've said it on camera before. I can come home from the gym or wherever I've been in the morning, sit down, start editing, hyperfixate, forget to drink water or eat for 12 hours. That would have continued if I didn't, like, firmly put things in place like, okay, no, now it's time to... I literally had to take everything that my body had learned and smash it into pieces and then almost create new scaffolding for myself to move forwards in life in a healthy way, because my body had no idea and my brain had no idea what it actually internally needed. It's not like I'm strict and regimented, like I'll never be that kind of person, you know that, like with eating and this and that, you know, and I'm also not fussy, and you guys know I eat a lot too, but I really had to make a structure, some kind of structure, to start to rebuild Miles. If you've had a similar upbringing to me, or you just part of this stressful world where you're not really allowed to feel into yourself, then I'm pretty sure that a lot of you can relate. So I spoke about boundaries in, I don't know what video it was, it must have been a Q&A like a couple months back, but I think I spoke, you know, when most people speak about boundaries, they speak about it from a, okay, I'm putting up these boundaries for myself to protect myself, and I'm letting people know that like I'm not available or I'm not here for that shit. It's kind of like a self-protective mechanism, right? And that was and still is a big learning journey for me. The kind of boundaries I'm talking about, this is such an important one for mental health, especially if you're someone like me who admittedly can, when I'm close to someone, and I know it's my problem, it's on me, it's my trigger, right? I am someone that when I share, when I open up, if I feel like it's not fully heard, I can really struggle with a lot of rejection pain. And honestly, that rejection pain in the past would, even with certain friends that I was very, very close to, would make me spiral into the worst pits of hell that I couldn't even get myself out of. So the kind of boundaries that I'm talking about is that being very specific with who I do and don't share my energy with. It's being more considerate of other people and thinking, okay, does this person have capacity before I share what's going on with me? Because maybe I'm dumb, but it's just been my reality, right? That I just naturally assume that people can relate to what things that I've been through in my life, which are actually on the outside very abnormal. But we have to remember that a lot of people in this world don't have that experience. I would repetitively make mistakes in the past, thinking that, and suffered for it, thinking that just because someone is close to me, just because I know that they love me, that I can open up to them about what I'm going through. You would think that, like logically thinking, you would think, well, if that's a good friend, then they would be there for you no matter what, right? And they would be able to hold the space. But the thing is, it comes back to capacity. It's not about being a good friend or a bad friend, or a good person or a bad person. It's just that everyone has different experiences in life. Some people just can't relate. One thing that I learned is that, because you know, I know too many people. I have too many friends. Like everyone, I'm that kind of bitch that just knows everyone. I kind of wish I didn't. I just can't help the fact that everyone wants to be friends with me, you know? Just let me have my Regina George moment, alright? I have realised that even some of the closest people to me, there has to be a boundary there where I don't talk about some darkness that I'm experiencing, where I don't talk about if I'm experiencing severe depression or anxiety. For some people, it's just too overwhelming. And at first, I kind of got offended by this. So what I had to learn to do is I know the people in my life that can hold darkness, that can listen to me when I'm in my shadow, that can understand and relate to me on a level that most of my friends can't. And there are probably a handful. This doesn't mean I disowned the friends that can't hold a deeper conversation about certain things. Certain friends are just for fun, right? It's why we vibe, it's why we sit and laugh the whole time. But I just had to learn to not bring all of me because they just can't handle it. And that's not their fault. No one owes you anything, number one, in life. And if you do have those people that understand and you can talk to on any level and you can bring any part of you to them, then you're lucky. You're very lucky, you're blessed. Going more into the physical and the nutrition and the training and all of that, I've always said that I don't overtrain, but the thing is I do consistently train hard, right? So it's not like I spend 10 hours in the gym, but like even if I just go for like half an hour or 45 minutes, you best believe that it's going to be rough. Of course, there are many people that are 50 million times stronger than me and can lift probably 5 times as much as me. But when it comes to like agility with strength, like HIIT workouts where there's very little break in between and it comes down to speed, strength, agility and lung capacity, trust me, there have been very few people. In fact, no, there's been no one who has asked to train with me and then been like, yeah, I want to do that again. In fact, I think I traumatized them. In fact, I haven't seen them since. But that's the thing, again, going back to point number one, my body still doesn't feel pain. And I know specifically that if there's any male or female, I know that most of you that watch me are female, but I think specifically I would say out of all the sports, and I know a lot of people from a lot of different sports because, you know, I was always at the Olympic facility, so I met the gymnasts, the sprinters, the pole vaulters, all of them, right? Gymnasts, the most, are taught to not feel pain because you always have pain and injuries and you always just have to take them up and just keep going. When I say I don't feel pain, like I feel it, like I can feel like, oh, okay, that hurt. My reaction is not to stop, it's to, okay, I have a way of mentally blocking it out. If you remember back to 2020, oh my god, it was 2021 when I broke my foot. Again, this is just an example of like me, of the way I was conditioned to not feel pain in my training. We were at a trampoline park. I have said this story before, but I'll keep it quick. And we were doing tumbles, whatever. And I did a backflip, landed not on the trampoline, but on like the metal part on the side, because I did like some kind of disabled backflip. Is that gonna offend someone that I said disabled backflip? Do you know what, if it does, good. Fed up of people being triggered by like normal words. Anyway, it was like in the first 5 or 10 minutes and we had an hour in there and I landed very hard on the metal. Don't forget you're wearing no shoes in there, so like straight on the bone in my foot, right? A big crack. And I did feel a lot of pain, I'm not gonna lie, but I didn't even tell my friends. They kind of noticed I was limping a little bit and they were like, what's up? And I was like, no, it's fine. But my initial reaction was, oh, we've got an hour here, I need to make the most of it, let's keep jumping. Not only did I keep jumping on a smashed foot, I kept doing backflips on a smashed foot. It's not a good thing, because I think you should always listen to physical pain. I don't. But one thing for me with training has been this year, I have got so much stronger. I've got massively into resistance training. As I'm sure a lot of you will notice, you know, I've always been in an athletic shape and I did go through fluctuations when I was going through certain things over the last few years, then going through that detox and then being so weak, honestly, being so weak. So what I'm saying is when I went back to training this time, I kind of wanted it to be, progressive is not the right word. Also, I don't like what that word means in society these days because it means just like crazy people. I wanted it to be, oh my god, what's the word? I wanted it to be conducive. I wanted it to be with a goal. This time I was like, no, like I have all these skills, like I've done all these things, I can do things with my body that most people can't do, you know? So I was kind of thinking, why am I just going to the gym? Like, why am I not using that to my advantage? Why am I not having fun with this machine that I have had to treat as a machine for so many years? So I kind of had to really reel it back in terms of the just going to train really intensely in whatever kind of way to make myself feel a certain kind of way. And for the first time since being in sport, I focused on strength. That doesn't mean I gave up doing cardio. You all know, you've seen me on the bike I have outside, like in the summer and stuff like that. I still love to get sweat on, but the majority of my training has been strength. I don't know, it makes me feeling physically stronger, makes me feel mentally stronger, and it also is kind of nice to, I know this is going to trigger some people, especially in the body positivity community, which, by the way, you're not allowed to be a part of if you're not fat. I don't know if you guys didn't know that, because it's not what it started out to be. You have to be a fat victim to be a part of the body positivity movement these days, apparently. I've been informed, trust me. Along with like more strength training. I mean, you all know I use protein shakes anyway. I have them every single day. I use Vivo Life. You all know my favorites. They're always linked down below. Honestly, if I woke up and I did like an intuitive what I eat in a day, it would not look anything like what you see in my what I eat in a days, or how my friends now see me in real life. Nothing. And finally, I think the last thing that has been a big shift for me, and it will be moving forwards as well, is that I've realized more than ever, I mean, I've always known since day dot that, like, for example, what you read on the news is 99% of the time not true. I learned that as a teenager when I was in the news, and everything that was written about me was not true. Coming from that experience of just like, they have the power to write whatever they want. Even if it's not nasty, it's just like not true. You know, so it's not coming from like a conspiracy theorist. It's like, no, I've lived through this. I've been in big press conferences, I've seen how they twist words, I've seen how they change stories. Putting minor things aside now, like sport, which I do class as minor in the big scheme of what's going on in the world. Obviously this is my job, right? And I love it, I take it seriously. You're not gonna get rid of me, but I love to create. But what I mean is I kind of got sucked into just so much focus around the art, the creation, that it's kind of like you neglect other parts of your life as well. And it's quite sad that I know a lot of other influencers that live their life that way, where they don't really live, they just live to create. And it's often forced creation as well. On top of that, it's also copied creation. Back to my main point of that, so many people that do this job, they don't kind of step out of it, and it can lead to burnout, it can lead to insanity, it can lead to, if I'm being honest, it can lead to believing the most stupid things in the world. Like I said a while back, the things that are pushed and promoted on social media as like the main way that people think is not the main way that people think in real life. But again, everything is kind of infiltrated through social media, right? That's how it reaches us. Things that appear to be popular and like highly supported, and if you don't support it, you're some kind of, no, 99% of the world don't agree with a lot of them. And I'm not talking about one thing specifically, because there are lots of mad things going on in the world, especially on social media, pushed through influencers on social media. And they don't do that because they actually agree with these crazy things. They do it because they want more followers, they want more applause, and just for more acceptance, when in real life, trust me, a lot of them act like they're NPCs. Don't forget, I know everyone, okay? And that kind of made me realize, like, this is my job. I love to step into this space when I have something special to share, and I always will do that. And I just wanted to say that, like, for me, it was very important after, say, 3-4 years of doing this as like my job on social media, to actually step back in those months when I had to pull away from social media, and to ground myself with normal people who live much more normal lives. Regardless of what their thoughts or beliefs are in this world, they just have a much more grounded essence about them. And it's been a blessing to really reconnect with people that don't give a shit. Don't just like hit you up on your inbox when they want to collab with you, you know? Which is a lot of people I know. It's nice to have those friends that when I go and see them and spend quality time with them, it's just quality time between two humans. In order for me to bring the best version of me, in order for me to do that in the best way, I can't get sucked into that world of the way that other people do on social media. I need a life outside of that. And that's why, like, I step in, I do my job, I post my shit, but I don't actually consume anything. Like, I need to be around people that ground me and remind me what this journey of life is really about, if you know what I'm saying. Anyways, guys, as always, leave all your comments and questions down below. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification bell. Love you all, and I'll see you on the next video. Laters.